Hi, so I'm KB with Nerdophiles. How are you both?
I'm
Great.
good. How are you?
I like this name, Nerdophiles.
Oh, thanks. I am doing well. Cannot complain. So listen, I absolutely adored the series. I think it's so good. It's so smart and it's so vulnerable, and the performances are just so good and layered in ways that I just did not even expect. So it is incredible. So I'll start with you, Sarah. So when the rights were kind of optioned for the series, what did you really hold firm to that was in the book that you felt like audiences most definitely had to see?
I mean, honestly, the biggest piece for me and Tegan was just that we got to still have a voice in the conversation. Once it was in Clea and Laura's hands, once they were in the writer's room and they were writing the scripts, Tegan and I just our whole thing was just like, we just want to be part of the conversation. We want to be able to give notes, and we want to be able to help texturize certain moments to make it feel more representative of the experience that we had. We would really tease Laura and Clea a lot because we'd read a certain thing and we'd be like, that's so American. That's not what we would have done. If we were in Canada, we would have done this or whatever. So, we really just saw ourselves as kind of like, obviously experts on our own life and experts on growing up in Canada at that time. And so we really just, it wasn't even specifically a storyline or a specific detail from the story. It was just mostly like, we just wanted to sort of be able to be in the conversation about where the story would go and how the story would progress throughout throughout the season. And everybody was super welcoming, and same with all the sort of textures and details like casting, music, the score. We were on set every day. Like, we just sort of wanted to be part of the process. We didn't necessarily need to take like a leadership role, but for us, it was like going to school. It was like getting a degree in television or something. We were just like, let us be here to watch a story get told.
Oh, I love it. Like soaking up the experience, but also providing the clear expertise, since again, it is your life.
Yeah.
But for you, Railey, talk a little bit about kind of what were the most rewarding and challenging kind of parts of stepping into Tegan's shoes.
I mean, the most challenging part was it was just that everything was so brand new. I mean, my life was absolutely completely different. I had never even been on an airplane before having to audition for this show.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
so lots of firsts. And the hard part was probably just, getting used to being able to put on this performance in front of so many people. Like this whole cast and crew is suddenly watching me, have to be vulnerable in some scenes and be able to portray what I want to put on screen, which was pretty difficult at first.
Oh my goodness. So, I mean, you led me to my next question. Just talk a little bit about kind of the importance of showing queer vulnerability in this way on the show, because it is unlike anything that I've seen before. I think it's so beautifully done. And so I'll start with you, Railey, only because you just teed it up for me, but talk about kind of the importance of seeing that on screen and representing that, because, there are a lot of queer moments for Tegan, but she hasn't like fully stepped into it in season one. And so it's interesting to see her journey for sure.
Wait, what are you asking?
Oh, just talk a little bit about the importance of seeing queer vulnerability this way on screen and you stepping into that.
I mean, I feel really lucky that I get to be this person that shows it on screen and to hopefully make a difference for other people and for this show to resonate with them. Just because like I wish that I was able to see a show like this and see myself that way on screen, because like I haven't seen a lot of queer shows like about women that's portrayed how I would like to see. So I just think that this is like a really important thing, and I'm like just super excited for everyone to see it.
Yeah, I mean, and you do a fantastic job, you and your sister both.
Thank you so much.
So, Sarah, you kind of also teed this up about the music. I think the score and like the soundtrack of the series is so good. I mean, like, I will age myself, but it is kind of the story of my growing up. And so I loved it. So how hard was it, honestly, to kind of choose to have a hand in the music for this show? Because there are so many great albums, artists, cuts, like things that you want to layer in. And I know that can't be easy, particularly for you guys, because you also have iconic music. But of course, we're seeing this in the beginning. So it's kind of like, we can't add ourselves quite yet.
I mean, yeah. Like one of the first things that I did when we started working on the show was make playlists for Clea and Laura of songs that Tegan and I loved when we were in high school. And, you know, just to sort of put them into our headspace, like they totally listened to a lot of the music that we listened to then, but there was also lots of local bands. And there was also music that maybe was not even from the 90s, but just was music that we discovered in the 90s, like the Violent Femmes, for example, even the Pixies, you know, like that to me is like, that's more of a that's an 80s band, but I was discovering like the sort of, the groundwork of bands in the 80s that were inspiring bands in the 1990s. And I was sort of figuring that out, organically in high school. But so I wanted to make sure that we didn't just think of this as music from 1995. It was kind of like, what would Tegan and Sara have been listening to naturally in 1995 that might not even be from that era, or that year or whatever. So it was really fun. Mostly the problem was just, they're short episodes, so you don't want to like have too many needle drops. And then financially, it was really fascinating. I've never been on the side of the business side where I got to see like how much Nirvana charges for a song in a TV show. And that was fascinating. I know how much Tegan and Sara charges. Nirvana a little bit more, just a little tiny bit more. So that part was really, really cool. But I love the way the music is used in the show. Actually, one of my favorite scenes in the show is a scene with Railey where she's writing the notes to Maya. And it's like, it's such a beautiful sort of like series of images, like the repetition, but then to have Railey's voice, like to hear her singing "Hey, I'm Just Like You," I found that moment really like goosebump. Like I just was, there's something, I mean, actually going back to your former question, the question before, I think Railey and Maya's storyline, Railey and Amanda's storyline as Tegan and Maya, it's so subtle, and it's so much probably more like what a lot of people experience when they're first figuring out their sexual interests and identity. It's like, it's chemistry. It's not sex. It's not like navigating what comes after you've admitted you like someone. It's all that like, oh my God, I feel weird around this person. Why do I feel weird around this person? Is it a good weird? Is it a bad weird? Do I love this person? Is this person annoying? Like, like I just love the storyline and how real that feels to that time. Like how quickly Tegan moves on from Maya. Like, why'd you forget about Maya? Why are you ignoring her? Like, she's great. Like I kind of love how there's something so simple and youthful about it, but it's also sophisticated. It's how chemistry works. Sometimes it's confusing, you just don't know.
And it's so interesting because the whole time I was watching, I was like, now Tegan, because she's not picking up on it. She's not picking up on it at all. And Maya is like heartbroken. And Tegan's like, what? I mean, like, I'm just writing songs with my sister. Like, what
I'm telling you, that is like the most accurate portrayal of Tegan in high school. This girl was clueless. Like it was like, and even when she wrote the book and she sent me all of her parts of the book, I was like reading the pages being like, where's the part about that you were like attracted to all your friends and, obsessed with girls? And Tegan was like, yeah, I wasn't like you. I wasn't that deep. I wasn't thinking about all of that, and I'm like, what? But she really was so clueless. And the first time that she kissed a girl, she really was like, oh, I guess I like girls.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, you're right. I think that their relationship is one of my favorite to see on screen, but I think it is because, Maya like pours her heart out every time. Like, I want to hang out one-on-one and I want to spend time with you. And Tegan's like, okay, girl. Yeah. Like, but she's just kind of like moving through the world. Like, sure.
I know. Well, it's almost like Tegan's the player or something, like kind of like doesn't like even when we first started shooting, there was this kind of like Amanda is she's so confident, you know, and we were kind of like, is this gonna feel weird? Like Maya's so like cool and Tegan's kind of like a dork. Like you're kind of like, Tegan, what's happening? And then by the end of the series, you're like, Tegan, you monster. How can you be so insensitive to Maya? You know?
It's true. It's true. I was like, Tegan, take off the blinders, you know, like by the end. But, you know, listen, like I said before, incredible first season. I really, really enjoyed it. And just thank you both so much for taking time to chat with Nerdophiles. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
So fun. Thanks so much.
Thanks. Have a good day.
You too.